Today we are going to read a story that is realistic fiction. So we've covered several genres. Today we're going to do one that's realistic fiction. And realistic fiction is a story that sounds as if it could be true. The characters, plot, and setting all seem real. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's a true story, but it's a story that sounds like it could be true. So characters are the people in the story. And if you notice here, we have Dad and the girl. She doesn't have a name, so that's interesting. The title of our story that we're going to read is Two Old Potatoes and Me. And it's by John Coy and illustrated by Carolyn Fisher. Will you stop really quickly and whisper to your partner sitting next to you and remind each other, what does it mean if you are the illustrator of a story? Go ahead. Back with me. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Let's do a picture walk. Look at these interesting pictures. I bet Mrs. Sewell will think these pictures are really cool. Right here, this is kind of interesting. Gross. Look at her face. Here's the boy. Look what he's doing. Maybe he's with his dad. Oh, maybe that's the girl. I said it was a boy. I think that's the girl. Here we go now. She's smiling, right? Look at these. These are such cool pictures. Like they're made out of paper and layered on there or something. Ooh, something happened, right? Look at her face. Then we come over here. Ooh, look at their faces. Are you making some predictions? Look at all the bugs. Those are really cool looking, actually. Uh-oh, something happened to this plant. Here's a text feature, a picture with a caption. Here we go. Here's all these M's right here. This is a cool picture, just of somebody's feet with their pitchfork and a, looks like potatoes. Very cool pictures. I like these. Ooh, overflowing. And then this right here is our last page. All right, so let's read through the story. I'm going to make lots of pauses at the words down at the bottom. Remember, we're going to see words that are highlighted, but we're also going to see bold words. And those are where we're going to make some stops as we're reading. So the first thing is setting a purpose. A girl finds 2 potatoes. Find out what she does with them. So we've got to find out what she's going to do in this story. Last spring at my dad's house, I found 2 old potatoes in the back of the cupboard. Now, if that's not a hook to start us out with a good story, I don't know what is. But she found 2 old potatoes in the back of the cupboard. They were so old, sprouts were growing from their eyes. So their eyes are little spots on the skin. Have you ever noticed when potatoes get old, they have spots on their skin? Gross! I tossed them in the trash. Wait, Dad said. I think we can grow new potatoes with those. I'll call your grandpa. He'll know. Look right here. Gross. Dad and I talked with Grandpa. Then we took the potatoes to the sunniest spot in the garden. We dug. We picked out rocks. We raked the soil smooth. Dad carefully cut the potatoes into 9 pieces. So carefully, if you look down here, means slowly. So Dad slowly cut the potatoes into 9 parts or pieces. I made sure each piece had 1 yellow sprout. Dad dug 9 small holes. I put a piece of potato with the eye facing up in each hole. Then I covered them with dirt to make little hills. Dad got the hose and I watered gently. Now, if you're listening, it kind of sounds like we're talking about sequencing, the order that something happens. Did you catch that in this paragraph right here? About what Dad did, and then what the girl did, and then what the dad did. Pay attention, because I'm going to ask you questions on the next one through. We're going to make a prediction. What will happen to the plants? So I want you to whisper to your neighbor, What do you think will happen to the plants? Let's make a prediction. We'll just talk about it. Go ahead, I'll wait. If you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video. Here we go. In May, green plants poked up like caterpillars unfolding. Can you imagine that in your mind? Caterpillars unfolding. We've had butterflies in our class, or caterpillars turning into butterflies in our classrooms. So can you imagine that? You've seen it before. Can you imagine it? We got down on our knees and picked weeds. We shoveled compost onto each hill. Shoveled compost onto each hill. Shoveling compost means to put a special kind of soil on each hill. Won't that smother the plants? To smother means to keep air from getting to them. So they're saying, like, won't we suffocate the plants if we put this compost on them? No, they'll grow through it. Are we really going to get new potatoes from old potatoes? I think so, said Dad. In June, the plants grew bigger. Violet flowers blossomed, and we added more compost. When we watered, I accidentally sprayed my dad with the hose. So made a mistake and got her dad wet. He laughed and sprayed me back. Now, if you look in this right here, we have this picture right here with a caption, the blossoms. Here are little violet flowers, right? These are the blossoms on their plant that they planted. In July, when the plants were as tall as my waist, we picked potato beetles off the leaves. Now, can you imagine how tall those plants were? The author says they were as tall as my waist. So that's pretty tall. Stand up and measure. That's a pretty tall plant. I dropped them into a pail of soapy water. Gross! We have to do this, Dad said. Otherwise, or if we don't, the bugs will eat the leaves and the potatoes won't grow. So here's our potato beetles. And she had to pick them off the leaves and then drop them into a pail of soapy water. Look at this illustration. Does that picture make it look like she thinks this is a gross job? In August, some of the plants turned brown and withered. So if they turned brown and withered, it means they became brown and dry. So if you look in the picture, you can kind of see, here's a text feature, a picture with a caption. These are the withered plants. That's what they look like. Are they dead? No, said Dad. The potatoes are growing underground or below the surface of the earth or the soil. Are you sure? I hope so. That's what your grandpa said. We weeded, we watered, and we waited. We're going to make another prediction. How many new potatoes will the old potatoes produce or make new potatoes? So how many new potatoes will the old potatoes produce or make? Let's make a prediction. Now, on a cool September day, Dad and I sit on the bench in the yard. Soon, we get up and walk to the garden. What's your favorite way to eat potatoes? Dad asks. Mashed with lots of butter and a sprinkle of nutmeg for good luck. So a nutmeg is a spice that you can put on stuff. So this girl likes to put a sprinkle of nutmeg for good luck. That's my favorite too. Let's see what's under these hills. Dad gets the garden fork from the shed or the little building down here where you store things. You might have a shed in your backyard. So Dad gets a garden fork from the shed and I carry the big bucket. Dad digs at the first hill. Nothing but dirt. He digs again. More dirt. After all that work, I say. Dad hands me the fork. You try. So he hands me the fork means he gives me the fork. You try. I dig deep. I lift the fork and see 7 golden shapes. Potatoes, I shout. Look at those spuds, Dad says, and spuds are potatoes. It's just another way to say potatoes. I bend down and pick up a potato. I rub the dirt off its skin and set it in the bucket. 1 potato, 2 potatoes, 3 potatoes, 4. 5 potatoes, 6 potatoes, 7 potatoes more. Each hill has lots of potatoes. Some are small, some are big, some have funny faces. 51 potatoes, 52 potatoes, 53 potatoes, 54, 55 potatoes, 56 potatoes, 57 potatoes more. I count 67 and our bucket is overflowing. What do you think it means if the bucket is overflowing? All this from 2 old potatoes. Yes, Dad rubs my head. Ready to dig into the potatoes you grew? Yeah, I'm hungry. So dig in means to eat. So are you ready to eat the potatoes you grew? And she says, yeah, I'm hungry.